Hey, how's it going? My name is Chris Down. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, essentially what I do is I pretty much talk a lot about Google Ads, mainly local lead generation. I touch on things outside of Google Ads, but really, kind of digital marketing strategies for local businesses looking to generate more leads. So if you're interested in that kind of content, make sure you subscribe to the channel because over the course of 2021, my goal is to release at least a couple new videos a week. And my goal is to have those be as valuable as possible, as information packed as possible. And if you want that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And essentially what I'm going to be talking about today are sort of what I've identified as kind of like the top 5 ways businesses waste money on Google Ads. There's a ton of ways that you can save money and also waste money on Google Ads. And that would be a really, really exhaustive list for a video. So what I tried to do was kind of boil it down into things that you can do for your account that will give you kind of the biggest return on your time investment. Some of them are bigger changes, some of them are smaller changes, but ultimately, I want to try and boil it down to something simple. So I'm going to be talking about 5 different ways you can save money on Google Ads and avoid some of that waste. So the number one thing that I see very often is people sending traffic to their homepage of their website. And that's not to say that websites or, kind of more generic pages can't work. They definitely can work, but they need to be built properly. Usually the conversion rates are going to be lower, but it's kind of a niche by niche and a market by market situation. The challenge with sending traffic to a homepage is right off the bat, there's going to be too many distractions. I work primarily in the home improvement and kind of like home service, kind of contracting based businesses. And if you're a company that does, roofing and siding and fencing and decking and all these different things, if you send all those different people looking for all those different things straight to the homepage, there's a really good chance that they're not going to find what they're looking for. They're probably going to get confused. They might click around a little bit and then they will get back. Essentially, you need to be very specific when it comes to Google Ads, but really the benefits of a landing page. So what you want to do is ultimately send them to a landing page. Don't want to send them to their homepage. The benefits of a landing page is you're going to have higher conversion rates. Usually when I'm doing a campaign, I want to see at least a 20% conversion rate. And ultimately, if you have a higher conversion rate, that means you're going to have a lower cost per lead. And when it comes to landing pages, I'm going to give you a quick example of like a wireframe of one in a little bit. You want it to be simple and really, really focused on the call to action. You want to point people towards one offer, one call to action, and have the page itself focused on one service. And it's kind of there's been a lot of studies on this. I think there's potentially a book even written about it, but it's the paradox of choice. If you give people too many options or you confuse them and you make it more difficult for them to make a decision, they're much, much less likely to take action. So in terms of the simplicity, you want to make swant that's there. And then also on top of that, make sure your landing page loads fast. That's just a little side point that I put in here at the end here. But you want to make sure that your landing page is fast. If it loads, I think the stat is about like more than 2 or 3 seconds loading time, you're really, really risking people kind of becoming impatient and then just going back to Google and then going to a competitor. So this is a really, really, it's nothing fancy here, but this is sort of the general layout that I usually use when I'm starting with a landing page. And this is obviously just like the top part of the page, but really the most important part is usually going to be the top, what's called above the fold, the things that are going to be above the parts where they start scrolling down. So usually it'll be something very simple like a logo, phone number in the top right with some kind of like call to action or something, the headline. So we're going to get into kind of account structure and stuff like that in a little bit, because that's a very big element of making your campaigns perform better. You're going to have your headline, which is usually going to align with whatever the person was searching for, and then usually a subheadline. I usually like to put some benefits up here, and then another call to action, and also I usually try to put things like testimonials, reviews, kind of like those trusted logos and certifications, all that kind of stuff up towards the top of the page. Because the way a lot of people operate is if they have a problem to solve, like they're looking for a quote on a roof replacement or something like that, for example, they're probably not going to read every single line on your landing page. But if you can make the key points very clear, like, hey, are you looking for a new roof? We offer X amount of dollars off, or we have financing options or whatever. And then you put testimonials right underneath that and say, if you want that, give us a call. That can be a pretty solid formula in itself. You don't have to worry too much about the content on the page being spectacular, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's about having a good offer and making your landing pages really, really simple. And if you compare this to like the homepage of a website, a homepage is going to be scattered and there's going to be a ton of different services. So this is kind of, what you want your landing pages to look like roughly. But at the end of the day, it all just comes down to simplicity and focus. But the math behind this, and this is probably, if you're going to do anything on a Google Ads account, this is probably one of the most 80-20 things you could do, assuming that the traffic that you're sending to your website is actually quality traffic. Because at the end of the day, like, as long as you have good traffic and a landing page, then you're going to generate leads. But if we were to look at the math, if you spend like $1,000 a month and you're paying, let's say, like $10 for your cost per click, just for the sake of simple math, that means you're going to get 100 clicks. If you send those people to your homepage, usually you might convert like 5% or something like that. That's only 5 phone calls a month at roughly a $200 cost per lead. If you send those people to a landing page and you're converting 20% of those clicks, now you've gone from 5 phone calls to 20 phone calls, and then cut that cost per lead from 200 down to 50. Obviously, these are hypothetical numbers, but this is easily one of the biggest levers you can pull on any kind of Google Ads campaign that might not be working. So the number two thing that I usually see with people kind of wasting money on Google is they're paying for low quality traffic. So we want to make sure that we have our traffic controlled, that we're paying for high quality traffic, and we'll get into kind of how to do that and how to diagnose the issues. So what do I mean by quality traffic? So when you're bidding on keywords for a local business, for example, you're looking to do lead gen, you want to make sure you're bidding on high intent keywords. And these can be things like, fencing company near me, bathroom remodeling contractor, roofing contractor near me. Because the people that are searching these types of, putting in these types of searches into Google, they're considered high intent because they're looking for an actual business to solve their problem. Now, if we contrast those with these keywords down here, these really broad ones like fencing or roofing, there's not a lot of intent behind them. People searching for fencing could be searching for a million different kinds of things. People searching just roofing could be looking for a ton of different kinds of things. So we want to make sure that we are showing up for very, very high intent searches. And if we're not, we're kind of wasting that money if we're talking about kind of local lead generation. Now, how do we control that traffic? There's a few things that you can focus on when it comes to trying to get higher quality traffic. So on the most basic level, you should at least be choosing the right keywords to bid on, like we just talked about with high intent keywords. Number 2, you want to make sure that you're using the right keyword match types. Number 3, you want to make sure that you are using negative keywords. Now remember, Google is going to spend your money regardless of, the keywords that you're bidding on, the match types, the negative keywords. They're going to spend the money. They're not, I don't want to say they're not in it for, you to make money. But whatever you tell Google to do, they're going to do. So probably the number one thing you need to keep in mind with Google is you want to make, you want to take as much control out of their hands as possible. And the way we do that is through these 3 things right here. Is we want to choose the right keywords, make sure to use the right keyword match types, and use negative keywords. So when it comes to choosing the right keywords, at a most basic level, you want to make sure that you're bidding on those high intent keywords and not those broad unrelated keywords. And the way you can go about doing this is use the Google Keyword Planner to figure out what people are searching for in your area. If you have a Google Ads account, you can go into the Keyword Planner, type in your keywords, and then literally start looking through the different things that people are searching, and then just pull different, high intent kind of searches that you see coming up there, and those will be good starting points. When it comes to keyword match types, I actually have an entire video going through the different keyword match types. So if you want a more in-depth look at that, you can check that video out. But at a really basic level, these essentially allow you to control what types of searches Google is going to display your ad for. And there's 4 different match types. You've got broad match, you've got broad match modified, you've got phrase match, and exact match. And this is, if you look at these words here, this is essentially what they look like. Broad match, there's no modifiers on the keyword. Broad match modified, you have pluses in front of the different the different words in the keyword. Phrase match, there's quotes around it. Exact match, there's these brackets. At a really, really basic level, because I don't want to spend too much time going through these, broad match. Google, I usually advise against avoiding broad match, because essentially Google will show your ad for this keyword or this search term, but they'll also show it for, very related, kind of related things in the same niche. Like if you're bidding on fence contractor, Google could end up showing your ad for like fencing materials from Home Depot or something like that. Some kind of random but sort of related in the same niche search. So broad match is a little iffy. Broad match modified, it's going to show your ads to searches that contain these two words. They don't have to be in this order, but these two words need to be contained in the search. Phrase match is going to show your ad for searches that contain this phrase in it. And then exact match is going to show your ads for this exact keyword. If somebody types fence contractor into Google and it's that exact keyword, it's going to show your ads for that. And like I just mentioned, the main thing you want to avoid here is those kind of broad match keyword, especially if you're kind of newer to running Google ads. You definitely want to try and avoid broad match as much as possible, because they will, Google will go ahead and kind of spend your money where they see fit, and it could be completely unrelated. And this is one of the big culprits that I see if I'm auditing a Google Ads account and I go through the search term reports. I'm going to see a ton of just irrelevant traffic going into an account. And if you're sending the wrong traffic to a wrong page, it's not going to work and it's not going to convert. Now, if we're talking about negative keywords, this third point here, these are essentially just the opposite of keywords. And again, I have an entire video going over negative keywords, how to find them, what they are, how to add them to your account. So check that out if you are interested in more info. But you're essentially telling Google what keywords or search terms you don't want to show up for. So some common things to add in is negative keywords. You want to add in your competitor brand names. Now you can run campaigns targeting competitor search terms, but these need to be pretty well organized. Generally, if you're doing kind of like a more generic campaign, I'd avoid competitor brand names. Other kind of bigger brand names, especially in the home improvement space, you want to avoid things like Home Depot, Lowe's, anything like that. There's also kind of like a list of, searches you don't want to show up. It's kind of like generic stuff like free, DIY, course, job, all that kind of stuff. And if you just Google negative keyword list, you're going to find a ton of different websites with just lists and lists of like common negative keywords that you can pull from. And then if there's any services you might not offer that people might be looking for, one that I can think of off the top of my head is, let's say you're a paving company that, does driveways and parking lots and all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure that you're not showing up for something like paving stones. Or if you are a roofing company, there's a lot of searches that might be people looking for just roofing shingles. You want to make sure that you negative out shingles as a keyword, because essentially if you're showing up for those searches and somebody clicks on your ad, even if they're looking for like roofing shingles, Google's still going to charge you. That's wasted money. You don't want that in your account. So number 3, and this is kind of going back to the landing pages a little bit, another way people waste money on Google Ads is they have no organized account and campaign structure. And this all, one of the biggest things you need to remember with Google Ads is it all kind of revolves around relevance to what people are searching for. And this is one of the things that can be really, really, really tedious. I'm not going to lie, but it's 100% worth it. And like I just mentioned, Google is all about relevancy. So everything needs to line up with what someone's searching for and be relevant to what they need. So this is a really, kind of rudimentary picture that I put together here of a really rough idea of what a campaign and ad group should look like. So let's say you're running a campaign for a roofing company. You are going to, and one thing that will also really help, check out my keyword research video on my channel. I kind of go into this a little bit, but essentially you're going to look at all the different things that people are searching for, and you want to split those out into their own individual ad groups. Because essentially what you do is you're going to find, if you do the keyword research, people are going to be searching for roof repair. So you take all those keywords, group roof repair into its own ad group, and you fill that ad group with all roof repair keywords. And then you show all those people searching for roof repair ads, and then you send those people to a roof repair landing page. Same thing with kind of more generic Roofing searches, like roofing company near me or whatever, you'd group all those in its own ad group. Keywords, ads, landing page. Same with commercial, ad group, keywords, ads, landing page. And that's kind of, tying back into the landing pages. You want to make sure everything lines up, everything is relevant to what people are searching for. Because at the end of the day, you kind of need to remember that people are going to Google because they need to solve a problem. They're looking for a service, whatever it might be. People go to Google to solve problems, and they're typing in specifically what they need help with. And it's up to you to deliver the most relevant ad and landing page to help them solve that problem. So once you kind of start thinking about it like that, it all kind of, at least for me, when I was, kind of getting started in Google Ads, that's how things kind of clicked for me, is I just realized there's a bunch of human beings going to Google. They have to solve problems, and it's up to me to organize my campaigns to help them solve those problems in the most efficient ways. So the better you align those campaigns with what they're searching for, the higher your campaign will convert and the more success you'll have from your campaign. And if you take all that traffic and you send it to the homepage, for example, then people are they're just not going to find what they're looking for. They're going to go back to Google. So this is also kind of ties in a little bit with how to improve your ads. For example, this is one way you can improve like the click-through rate on your ads, is just make sure your campaign is structured better because it's going to be more relevant to people. So that is number 3, talking about, campaign structure. And there's just a little, I guess kind of a bit of a random point to tie into that. But essentially, unfortunately, humans have a shorter attention span than a goldfish. So, going back to relevance and everything, the easier you're going to make it for people, the better your campaign's going to work, the better it's going to convert. And, you want to help this guy over here on the right with his really messed up, poorly photoshopped iPad, make a better decision, make it a lot easier for him. So number 4, this is kind of getting more into the smaller tweaks and things like that. Number 4, way that I see people, I guess, wasting, but I guess not necessarily wasting, but missing out on opportunities. Number 4 is having a weak ad or a weak offer. And I think mainly is, the weak offer side of it. Getting the traffic side right, sending it to a landing page is awesome. But if no one is clicking your ads, and if nobody's enticed by your offer, you're not going to get any conversions. So usually on my end, if I'm, running a campaign, I want to shoot to try and at least get like a 5% click-through rate on the ads that I'm running. I know a lot of people would say, the industry average is something like 2%, but I usually want to try to shoot for a lot more than that, like a 5%. That's going to vary niche by niche, but that's usually what I shoot for on my end. And really the main thing here is this is also sort of like a business strategy side of things, not just talking about ads. You want to avoid sounding like a Me Too kind of business, because if you go to Google and search either within your niche or your client's niche or whatever, every business is going to sound exactly the same. Like I didn't pull this from any specific business, but I'm kind of like summarizing what I see a lot of. You're going to see a lot of ads that look like, Bob's Roofing, in business since 1975. Our customers have been trusting us with their roofing needs for years. We do really good work. Trust us. Obviously that last little bit is a little bit sarcasm, but everybody kind of looks the same. You're going to start seeing the same words, the same offers. You're going to see a lot of the same stuff. And if you start to look around your local marketplace, you're going to start seeing that pattern. And you got to remember what kind of going back to relevance and everything like that. Don't forget about the customer's favorite radio station. And that radio station is What's In It For Me, WIIFM, What's In It For Me. And it kind of sounds harsh, but nobody really cares about your business, and especially if they're going to Google, all they care about is what you can do for them. Because again, they're going to Google to solve a problem, and they're looking for you to help them solve it. So when you're making your ad copy, you want to make it about them and how you can actually solve their problem. So one way you can do that, you can use differentiators, benefits, offers, calls to action. And as a good rule of thumb, I try to incorporate the keyword into the first part of the headline and then follow it up with like a benefit or a call to action or something like that. And these are good places to drop in, your USP, your unique selling proposition. But really just kind of take some time, whether it's for your own business or for, a client that you're working with. Try to figure out how to differentiate yourself. Like these are just a couple like headline examples. I didn't actually, in these parentheses down here, just as a disclaimer, I didn't check to see if these actually fit the character limits. But I just kind of wanted to give these examples. So it could be something like, need a new roof? Call now for $500 off. Number one roof replacement NJ, 12-month, 0% financing. Little things like that would definitely stand out compared to other competitors. And that not only applies to the ad, you can take that offer and now put it on the landing page. Because ultimately, like if you have a better offer than other competitors in the marketplace, you stand out more, you have a better, different, a better USP, for example, more people are probably going to do business with you compared to the competitors. Now, number 5, this is a much more basic point, and it's kind of comes down to maybe not wasting money, but not really knowing where your money is going, and that is not using any conversion tracking. And it's kind of the old adage, if you will, you can't manage what you don't measure. And essentially, in order to get a Google Ads account performing its best, you need to optimize it over time. And if you're not tracking which keywords, ads, devices, all that kind of stuff lead to conversions, then you're just not going to be able to make improvements on your account. So really on a regular basis, if you are optimizing your account, you're going to need to be trimming the fat, if you will, off a Google Ads account. And that's going to get it to perform better. And I'm going to make a video on this, how to set this all up, but Google has plenty of tutorials on how to set this up. It's really simple, and you kind of need to have this set up on your account. Because essentially everything I mentioned here, it's kind of all for naught, if you will. If you're not tracking your conversions, you have no idea what's working, what's not working. And it doesn't matter if you change your landing page. It doesn't matter if you get the right traffic. If you have no idea what's working, you're going to have no idea where the money's going. And it's all, essentially, in a sense, it could all be a waste at that point. So conversion tracking is that last point, because without this, in a sense, nothing else really matters when it comes to Google Ads. So that's pretty much it for this video. A little bit of a longer one, ran a little longer than I wanted to go, but in conclusion, Google, like I've mentioned a couple times in this video, it's all about organization, relevance to the customer, and kind of stacking those positive changes on top of each other over time when it comes to optimization, and making your account perform better and better. And there's plenty of other, more granular things that I got to add into this, but these are all sort of like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, they're a good start. They're these things that you can, kind of the bigger levers you can pull to actually start to make some changes. And if you stack all these things on top of each other, you'll have a much better performing account in no time. So that's it for this video. I really hope you found some value, and I kind of felt like I was kind of rambling a little bit in the middle there. But if you are, running Google Ads now and you are looking for somebody to maybe do a free audit on what you're doing, I would be glad to do that. I'm doing free audits for the time being. I might not be offering this forever, but I have a link in the description. If you're interested in that, it'll take you to a page where you can fill out a form, and I can get back to you to see if there's anything I can do to help you out. And if you are somebody that enjoyed what you saw, if you want to get some more value, learn a bit more about Google Ads, things like that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video. It's always appreciated. If there's anything else that you want to learn or anything that you might need help with, make sure you drop it in the comments below, and I will try my best to either get to your comment or make a video about what you need help with. If you want to follow me on any social media platform, I got my Facebook profile, Instagram profile, and LinkedIn profile in the description. And that's it for now. Again, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see some more videos, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks.